Hello student, last time we have ended with these three questions. First I'll address these and then we'll go through distribution of charge, charging by induction, and if time permit, Coulomb's law in a scalar form. That is target for this lecture. So starting with how many electrons required to make 1 Coulomb charge? Quite simple question. Number of electrons which required to make 1 Coulomb charge. Look. As per law of quantization, total charge Q is equal to N into E. So number of electrons required, will it be Q by E? So number of electrons required to, yes. So number of electrons required to make 1 Coulomb charge, can we find out like this? N is equal to Q by E. Same way, I asked, that is charge on the nucleus XZA. Here Z contain number of proton and each proton having charge 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. That basic charge 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb, if I am denoting by E, then charge on nucleus will be Z into E. How charge of nucleus will be Z into E? Again I do repeat, XZA contains Z number of proton and each proton having charge E. So charge of nucleus is Z into E. Again remember, atom as a whole is electrically neutral, but nucleus having charge Z into E. Same way, if body having 10 raised to 19 electron in excess charge, again you can follow same formula. Q is equal to N into E. How many number of electrons I have given? 10 raised to 19. So Q is equal to N is 10 raised to 19 into 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19. That will be 1.6. But it have excess of electrons, so this will be minus. Same way, how we can correlate charge with mass? Last question of last session. Charge of 1 gram of electron we have to find out. So first, how many electrons make 1 gram charge? 1 gram. So is it total mass by mass of each electron? Total mass is here 1 or 10 raised to minus 3 if you are taking in kg, by m is 9.1 into 10 raised to minus 31. This will give you n, and once you are having n, Q is equal to N into E. These three questions some students have attempted, but still what I am finding, students are not as active as regular lecture. But all you dear student, at least for next 15 days, follow this schedule. First question, again number of electrons which makes 1 Coulomb charge, N is equal to Q by E. Charge of nucleus will be Z into E, where E is charge of each proton or electron. Body having 10 raised to 19 electron in excess, then charge will be N into E, where N is 10 raised to 19. Then if I have to correlate charge with mass, then first, like 1 gram mass is given, then number of electrons which make 1 gram mass, is it M by Me? That is 10 raised to minus 3 upon mass of each electron. Then Q equals to Ne. Yes, now we continue our session further. Yes, in last lecture we already discussed that we are charging the body by transferring of electron. Now, the establishment of charge of the body can take place by two ways. One is by physical contact, maybe friction, or in another way physical contact. Like when I am rubbing glass with silk, if glass rod loss electron, it become positively charged. Silk gain electron, then it become negatively charged. That is one. And second possibility is charging by induction. Now, both these concepts, charging by contact and charging by induction, how you have to apply for problem solving. So for contact, remember this concept. If you are having two identical bodies, then whatever total available charge. If I am bringing both body in contact, then that will be equally divided. In charging by contact, for example, if you are having one sphere of radius r and charge on the sphere is q, another sphere is electrically neutral, it also having radius r. Now, as both spheres are identical in all the sense, when I bring them in contact and separate, means I touch them and separate, then after bringing them in contact and separate, charge on each will be q by 2, q by 2. So, here both spheres were identical, so total available charge have been equally divided into two parts. Okay? Now on base of this one question I am giving, which I will address in next lecture, try this. Try this. Let's say A having charge twice of Q, B having charge Q, and third sphere C is electrically neutral. Now see the sequence. First we are bringing A in contact with B, then B in contact with C, and finally C in contact with A. Then question is, what is final charge on A? Again, sequence will be all are identical. A having charge to Q, B having charge Q, and C is electrically neutral. First you are bringing A in contact with B, B with C, and C with A. What is final charge on A? Now instead of that, you try this also. First you are bringing B with C, C with A, and A with B. Again, what is final charge on A? In both questions, what you have to evaluate? Final charge on A. So here we have discussed specific case that the total available charge will be equally divided if both bodies are identical. If bodies are not identical, then how charge will be divided? That will go through in the concept of electrostatic potential. Simple formula, but I don't want to give you direct and you have to mug up it. We will discuss in electrostatic potential. Yes, charging by induction. Charging by induction means to establish charge on the body without having any physical contact with another charged body. You can establish charge on the body without having any other, you can establish charge on the body without having any physical contact with another charged body. That is charging by induction. And detail of charging by induction we'll discuss in regular lecture. Right now, what I am discussing, what is charging by induction. Why I'll discuss this again. In fact, everything what I am discussing right now to this e-media, we are going to repeat in physical classes. But when I discuss charging by induction, I also have to discuss the method of image charge. But right now we will only go through what is charging by induction. For that, consider this sphere kept on some insulated base. The sphere is electrically neutral, which means it have equal amount of positive and negative charge. Now, if you bring negatively charged rod near to the sphere, what happens? negative charge, that is electron, will repel. So electron will be accumulated or gathered on this side. So this side of sphere will behave like negatively charged, while this side of sphere will behave like positively charged, because electron have been removed from this side. Now, if I apply earthing to this, then what happens? This electrons on this side will start to flow out, and after some time we'll have this situation. Now what happened? If I withdraw the earthing as well as this negative rod, right now earthing is also there, let's say, negative rod is also there, but some of electron have flown out, so this sphere is behaving like positively charged. Now I am removing this earthing as well as negatively charged rod. So sphere, whatever charge available will be equally distributed. So sphere appear like positively charged. So without having any physical contact with this charged body, we have established positive charge on the sphere, that is charging by induction. Now two important concepts, this is theory for charging by important, but two important concepts for charging by induction is, one is what actually charge induce. I'll keep separate lecture for that, and second is image method for induced charge. That should be addressed as a separate 10-15 minute module. But right now I am only going through this part. Later on I'll go through image method and what is induced charge. Once I'll discuss dielectric, we'll come back to that point. Now we'll go through Coulomb's law. Yes, starting with Coulomb's law, but again two simple concepts for this lecture: charging by contact. In that, what we have discussed, if two bodies are identical, then total available charge will be equally divided. Second, and one question based on that, first charging by contact I have given. Second is charging by induction, in which charging by induction means to establish charge on the body without having any physical contact with another charged body. That is charging by induction. Yes, now going through Coulomb's law, it is almost analogous to gravitational law what you have discussed in 11 with just one or two differences. Let's say you are having two charges, Q1 and Q2, separated by some distance r. Then what will be the attractive or repulsive force between these two charges? Right now we will only discuss the scalar form, magnitude form. We are having two charges, Q1 and Q2, separated by some distance r. So force of attraction or repulsion. Why say attraction or repulsion? You are knowing very basic that like charges are repelling and unlike charges are attracting each other. So force of attraction or repulsion, F, then it is directly proportional to product of both the charges. At the same time, it is inversely proportional to square of distance between them. Force of attraction or repulsion is directly proportional to product of both the charges and inversely proportional to square of distance. Now to remove out proportionality, F is equal to, the constant term is 1 over 4 pi epsilon 0. Q1, Q2 by R square. Look this part. Proportionality constant 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0. Here epsilon 0 is electrical permittivity of free space. What I say epsilon 0 is electrical permittivity of free space, and having value 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12 SI unit, that is Coulomb square per Newton into meter square. Yes, first we are focusing on this, but this point itself is very important. I'll have to take one more lecture only on this equation. So, first focusing on this equation only, remember this part. That is analogy between Coulomb's law and gravitational law. Both are inverse square law of distance. Coulomb's law as well as gravitational law, both are inverse square law of distance. At the same time, what is difference between two? So what I say here, force of attraction or repulsion, means electrostatic force between two charges can be either attractive or repulsive. As far as gravitational force is concerned, it is always attractive. Another difference is this much. First difference, what I said, gravitational force is only attractive. Electrostatic force may be attractive or may be repulsive. Similarity, both are inverse square law of distance. Another difference, here when I have written 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0. Epsilon 0 I have identified as electrical permittivity of free space. What is epsilon 0? Electrical permittivity of free space. Means this equation is applicable only when two charges are separated by some distance in vacuum. If they are in some medium, then equation will change. Second concept, if you remember gravitational law, F is equal to G m1 m2 by r square. Force of attraction between two mass. So here G having fixed value, universal gravitational constant 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11. SI unit, that is Newton meter square per kg square. So gravitational force between two masses was independent of medium. Means like two mass particle, let's say Earth and Sun or on any other planet, are in free space or in some medium, then there will be no change in gravitational force. But electrical force depends on medium. And on base of this, you will have lots of problem. Right now, concept to be remembered, electrical force between two particles, two charges, depends on medium. Because epsilon 0 is electrical permittivity of free space. Means this equation is only applicable for free space. Gravitational force is independent of medium. Yes. Based of this, first some questions I am giving, and then we'll continue with this equation in some medium. What we are having, Coulomb's law, F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R square. Student, when I am delivering lecture in this way for all my dear spectrum student, something I want from you people to work out on the questions what I am giving to you. Try to work out on that. It will develop some linkage. So on base of this, you have to go through some simple question. Question number 1. If Q1 increase by 10%, okay, I'll write down in this way. Q1 increase by 10%. Q2 decrease by 10%. What is new force between Q1 and Q2? To all you dear student, original force F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q2 by R square. Now what is happening? One charge is increasing by 10%, other charge is decreasing by 10%. Then what is new force between Q1 and Q2? Yes, how you are supposed to solve this problem? Let's say new force is F dash. Then F dash you have to get answer in terms of F. Means F by 2, F into 2, F into 1.56, something like that. Answer of F dash you are supposed to get in terms of F. 1. Second question based on this, what you have to try is, if force between two charges 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 q1 q2 by r square. Out of that, if r increase by 20%, what is new force? Here also, you are supposed to get answer of new force F dash in terms of original force F. F into something. Original force F is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 q1 q2 by r square. Now charges are not changing, but R is increasing by 20%. What is new force? And third question before I end the session, two equal and opposite charges have force F between them. Two equal and opposite charges having force F between them. What is new force if 25% charge of first is transferred to other? What is new force if 25% of charge from first transfer to two equal and opposite charges, mean both charges are q and minus q, having force F, are kept at some distance r. Now, if 25% of charge from first is transferred to other, then what is new force? Again, as I said, you are supposed to find out answer of F dash in terms of F. Yes, student, we have gone through enough stuff, so this lecture will be followed by one assignment work, and I want all of you to strictly follow the assignment schedule also. Again, stay home, stay safe, and start to do your work for 12th.